belongs in a museum. So do you.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you're watching this. My name is Brandon Aries, and welcome to The Sanctuary. My girlfriend and I saw Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny last week, and we got to talk about it. When I was a kid, I just loved the Lego Indiana Jones games. I mean, I remember I had like a Lego Indy, a Mutt Williams, a Short Round, and having those Lego sets and playing the Lego games really got me into watching the actual films, which I ended up loving. While Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is still a hard watch, I still love it for the adventures of Indiana Jones. And I feel like that's the same thing that happened with this film, The Dial of Destiny. The de-aging of Harrison Ford took me out of it at times because it didn't really look like he was speaking, but also it was way too CGI'd. Like, I heard it took the animators over 3 years to get that look right of Harrison Ford when he was young. But who doesn't like good old Indy just beating down Nazis? I mean, I do. So we get de-aged Harrison Ford, and then we get old, beaten, broken, just going through the motions Indiana Jones. And my girlfriend made this point that it was hard seeing Indiana Jones like that. Just old and no hat, no whip, no love for the adventure. There was no drive of like what the next relic is going to be, what the next thing that belongs in a museum is going to be. So at times you're almost asking yourself, is this the same Indiana Jones I grew to know and love? So of course, Indy needs someone or something to get him back into that adventure thief mindset. And that is Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character, Helena. I feel like Helena was a very big love to hate, hate to love type of character because of her complexity and the things that she does. It makes you question, like, why would you do that? Though that paired with her love for the adventure and the whole Dial of Destiny gets Indy back into the scene. This movie was also scored by John Williams, the composer of the original Indy movies. So just right there, it just takes you back to the days of the old Indy times. The biggest thing I can say that I liked about this Indiana Jones film is the nostalgia it gives me. I already spoke about the John Williams music, obviously Harrison Ford being back, some of the nods and homages to the original films just by like words or objects or sayings. All of that takes me back to the old times when I was playing the games, when I was building the Legos, when I was watching The Last Crusade or Raiders of the Lost Ark. And I remember looking over in the theater and seeing my girlfriend have that same feeling. Every time Indy would get a punch in or you would hear his signature theme, it got you the goosebumps that you wanted and it got you excited to see Indiana Jones. I want to start getting into my gripes to the movie. So one of them is also the nostalgia. Now, I feel like it is one of the bigger strengths of the film. However, it also leads into one of the weaknesses of the film. As in, I feel like it's one of the only things that help keep this film up on its feet. One of the only reasons of that is because all of those people that loved Indiana Jones over the years went to see this movie. They wanted to see how this is going to be the definitive end. And to tag along with that is this new generation of cinematic revivals going on. I've spoken about this in prior videos, but I feel like these cinematic revival movies are just kind of trying to give an end to stories that just have naturally faded off. And me personally, I feel like if a story doesn't necessarily end, it is open to interpretation as to what unfolded after. Sometimes a story doesn't need an end. The pacing for this movie was also pretty slow. I found myself looking at my watch often and being like, how long is this movie? Because apparently now the new format for movies is over 2 hours. Though there were times where I was kind of feeling a little restless because I was wondering where the story is going to get to the good parts. Mads Mikkelsen's stoicism always gives a great performance as a villain. I thought he did great in this franchise, and I think he added such slight, smooth swagger that helped complement the hero villain of Indy and him together. And there was something that happened in the big finale that got you thinking like, yeah, you know, maybe this is a fitting end. But then they changed that. The ending didn't really leave me satisfied. Like, I still don't feel like that was the definitive end for Indiana Jones. That's not saying there's no setup for a sequel, but I feel like with these, quote, cinematic revivals, it's like, do we want this to really end, or should we just leave it open just in case the cash cow comes in and we want to put out a couple more. It makes me sad that Hollywood and the movie industry just brings back older franchises to try and revitalize them, revive them, give some stories an ending, but honestly, I feel like for the most part, it works against their favor. As I said earlier, some stories just don't need an end. Leave it open for the viewer's interpretation. I get it. Sometimes you really want to know what happens next, or how their story ended, or how their life continued after the last movie from 10 years ago. I get it. I think part of the art of film is the mystery of what happens after. When some stories do end, there's still a life after. Life keeps going on. And as for Indiana Jones, it's the same thing. I think Indiana Jones as a character has turned into a hero that we all know and love and even idolize to an extent. And to see him old, broken, lost, not really having that drive or excitement to adventure on is sad. And we don't want to see our idols grow old. Though that also speaks about those people that you look up to. Even they get old. Even they have their own end to their story. And life is just going to keep moving forward. Now, would I say this film is better than Crystal Skull? Let me get back to you on that. It's been a while since I've seen Crystal Skull, and I remember falling asleep during it. Though I do remember some of the wacky stuff that happened in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull that didn't happen in this one. So that's a plus. The last thing I'll say is that I liked this movie. I thought it was decent. But there are its issues, just like every film. Would I watch it again? Maybe, but a lot of it I'm already forgetting, which is part of the problem of the current generation of movies. Not a lot of movies are leaving that resonance, that after effect of like, man, I want to watch this again and again and again. It's like one watch and then it's over. And then maybe a couple years down the line, you'll see it on TV or on a streaming service, and you'll maybe turn it on when you're bored. As someone who loves films and grew up watching films all the time, it's sad to think about that. I like when I get that feeling to want to watch a movie again. And to not feel that in today's current generation of films is really sad to me. But those are my thoughts on Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Did you see it? Are you going to see it? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to drop a like. It is always so much appreciated here in the Sanctuary. And if you're new, subscribe and hit that notification bell for every week this lover boy pops up in your feed. Got the veggie shirt on, like my honey. My honey is away on vacation right now. That's why I have all of the children. We have everybody. So in case we don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Peace.